Welcome to Beyond Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Petralis, and we are super excited today. A guy that I've been following on social media for a really long time, an MMA fighter, professional boxer, and I just think he's the man. This guy trains hard. Everything that I see on Instagram, he's just like constantly going. His social media is popping all the time, and I respect that because I know how hard it is to balance the social media game on top of the training, on top of life, on top of everything. It is like a full-time job, so I much respect there. But his training videos are awesome. The guy puts a ton of work in. I think he's going to be making it big pretty soon. If you don't know his name, you're going to know it after today. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Bulger.
What's going on, brother? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. And I meant what I said, like huge fan. I ran into you, and I don't know if you remember this or not, but I ran into you at Razzo's, and I remember specifically because it was we had our cornhole fundraiser tournament that same day, and then after we were done, we kind of a bunch of people moved over and went to Razzo's, which is a restaurant in Medford, and I saw you, and I said, I know you. I give me a second to think, and we don't know each other. And then I was like, "You're on Instagram, Mike Bulger, right?" And like we talked for a few minutes, but I was telling you how big of a fan I was then. So it's finally great to have you on.
You had like a hat or a shirt on, and at first you were like, "Hey, I know you," and I was like, "Oh boy, all right." And then you dropped some of our mutual friends, and then it was all good. But I recognized the Beyond gear, so yeah, that was fun. I remember that Razzo's. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, man. So we've been pumped, and you and I have kind of been chatting, and we definitely conversate on social media. So it's great to finally get you on here. So one big thing, I kind of reached out to you as Beyond Podcast, and we are backing you totally. We are big Mike Bulger fans, and we consider you our fighter, man. We consider you our guy. We want to pump you as much as we can. Yeah, and I think we got a real good one. So I'm pumped. But you have a huge event coming up in the Shriners Auditorium in Wilmington on Friday, October 21st. We're actually going to come into the way in the day before and check it all out. But I want to give you a chance to pump the event a little bit, what it is, what you're going to be doing. Because like I said, you're a tough dude, man, and we're excited.
So pretty much it's October 21st, like you said, at the Shriners Auditorium in Wilmington. Yeah, Combat FC. So it's been around the block for a long time. They stopped doing shows years back. They had guys like John Jones on there. They had Joe Lozon, Calvin Cater, I mean, the who's who pretty much. John Jones, everyone knows John Jones is.
Right.
They had him on the show, and then I believe the guy, the owner, Joe Cal, which is his name, took some time off, and then he came back. Right, he was trying to come back when the pandemic was happening. And then obviously that happened. And then he, put together the show, changed the name to Combat FC. And I mean, listen, I've been on a few shows from, from amateur fights to pro fights. He put on it was real good, real professional, real smooth. The fighters, in my opinion, we felt like, we were getting treated the way we should, you know what I mean? The whole thing was so professional, and he has the Fight Pass deal with Dana White. And, the whole thing is unbelievable. The arena set up, it was probably the best show I've been a part of so far as a pro. In that sense, like the organization, they're on their game. There's no knickknacks. It's smooth sailing the whole way through. So I can't say enough good things about those guys over at Combat FC. So shout out Combat FC. Yeah. So this was my second fight for them. I fought June 17th this year, and that went, as planned. I got a first round knockout.
Yeah, I got it right here. Do first round knockout 1:05 into the fight. Is that accurate? Yeah, man. So I was pretty impressed, and I did a little bit of homework on you. We could totally jump into that. But you mentioned you're fighting here, and you have your opponent coming up, and we can talk a little bit about him as well. But as a fighter, as amateur, and this is the homework that I did on you, and we talked about this. Amateur MMA, you were 2-0. You fought it. I noticed you fought at 170 the first time around. You fought at 155 the second time around, and unanimous decision. So you went the full gate, you went the full rounds, yep. Which was great. And then I know you amateur box as well, but professionally you're 2-0 as well. You fought at 157, 155. two first round knockouts. The first one was a minute 55 in, the next one was under a minute, 59 seconds. And then obviously what we just talked about here. So, you're well rounded in the boxing game, as well as obviously taking that over to mixed martial arts as well. Is there a line there of like those last three fights in boxing and MMA, you're winning fights within like 2 minutes, a minute? Are you consider yourself more of like a powerful type fighter, or do you see yourself
Um,
like more balanced?
I think I'm balanced. It all comes down to, also opportunity, right? Sometimes it could happen, and I've seen guys get, first 15 seconds they get it right, hit a punch, it's over. I think I've come into my own, because when I was an amateur, I was trying to like I was so afraid, and I think a lot of fighters think it, but they don't say it. I was so afraid to lose that I just wanted to just to win on points, right? I was just so afraid to lose, because you have your friends there, you have your family there, you have people hyping you up, and you're just like, and I'm this young guy, I'm like, I don't want to lose, you know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
like playing the tag game. But as I got older, I kind of developed my own style, and I'm more just like, I'm letting it go. I'm not worried about losing. I'm not worried about winning. I'm just letting it go. And I mean, clearly it's working out, letting it go. But just come into it. Yeah, I'm a strong guy. You know what I mean? But it's timing, speed, accuracy, all of it. Just again, letting it go and not being afraid to lose. Like that's kind of a huge thing. You'll see these guys like who go out there, because I was one of them, and they just don't want to lose, right? They don't care about winning by knockout or anything or any of that. They just don't want to lose. So they fight almost with
Yeah.
the
Do you find yourself defensive? Do you find is
yes,
in that
defensive. I
sense
was
you're like kind of
yeah.
stepping back and not being on the attack?
And now I just try to like, I just try to get in a zone and let it come. If it comes in the first round, I mean that's awesome. You don't get paid overtime in our business. But if it goes the whole thing, then that's part of the game too. I don't a great fighter, Roy Jones Jr. said it. He goes, I never look for a knockout. I just let it go, and then it happens. If you're looking for something too much, you're too slow, you're thinking too much. Gotta just go out there and let it go, and just be yourself in whatever way that may be, and then that's when success comes for anyone, fighters, whatever sport you're playing. Be
Yeah,
yourself,
it's
it all
yeah.
comes out.
It's interesting, because I think it's true, like you said, like we cover a lot of football, use football as an instant. You walk in to cover some teams and the quarterback is just letting it go, not afraid,
Right in the
staying in
moment.
the pocket. So I get it, I get it from that translation standpoint of, sometimes the best plays or the biggest things that you're going to do are kind of just taking the moment when it's there and going for it, as opposed to just waiting for it.
Uh,
So
it,
yeah.
yeah, like again, I agree. Like you watch guys, again, let's say with football, you watch a quarterback, whether it's Brady, the GOAT, or any of these guys, when they're in their flow state, it looks like almost they're just ahead of everyone. Like they're just one step ahead. But they're just playing their game. They're not overthinking. They're not overanalyzing. They're just doing their thing, and it's truly remarkable to watch in any aspect. Like I even just subtract fighting, watching guys in football, basketball, when they get in their zone, it's like remarkable. You might as well get out of the way.
Yeah, and it's interesting, man. And I guess a follow up I have to that, or just like an add on that I'm just curious as like as a fan, is like cutting weight. Like you drink a lot of water. I'm sure it's probably the only thing you freaking drink once you find out your fight to like when your weigh-in happens. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I noticed that your first fight as an amateur MMA fight, you fought at 170, and then in boxing and mixed martial arts, you've been fighting more like 155 or consistently around there.
Yep.
What, like, choice wise, like what made you say, 155 is my weight? Or do you consider yourself like, hey, I could move up to 170 depending on how the living weight I guess you have?
Yeah. So what happened with my first MMA fight, which was in Las Vegas for Tough Enough, it was on a week notice. Might have been less than a week notice. I got a text from my coach at the time. And he was like, you want to fight this kid? And he was 1-0 at the time. And I was like, when? He's like, in a week. And I'm like, I don't think I'm making 55 in a week, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, no, it's at 175. It was at 175. The scheduled weight was. I'm like, damn, 175. So now I'm like, how big is this kid? Is he huge? Turned
Right.
out he just didn't want to cut weight. You know what I mean? Like, so I said, yeah, whatever. Weigh 175, beat him, and then I moved back home and then I boxed in between that. I had an amateur fight or 2 amateur fights, whatever it was, in boxing, and I boxed at like 70 or like 68 or whatever in that category. Then I fought the MMA again at 55, and I was at one point thinking about going down because the kid I fought was big, tall kid. He fights at welterweight now. And I'm like, dang, I'm kind of short for this weight class. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I don't realize how like I'm kind of a thicker guy. So then I started, as I developed more as like in getting intelligent and getting certified in nutrition, getting certified in weight cutting. I was like, oh, I'm a 55er. I weighed 154 in my last fight. I weighed under 155. So weight cutting's a funny thing. Like I always tell people who like ask, like, how would you describe weight cutting? I'm like, weight cutting is all water, and it's a very small period of time. Losing weight is diet and nutrition and exercise. It's a major difference. Weight cutting and losing weight is not the same. Losing water weight is not the same as losing your actual body weight throughout time in a process, in a system, in food. It's different.
So what do you weigh, like not fighting? Like what do you typically weigh? Because you are a pretty big guy. I mean, I saw you in person, dude. Like you are like a muscular dude, right? So
Yeah.
what's your weight typically at or around?
There's 2 different versions, like happy weight, you know what I mean? But I always say like the week after my fights, I'm eating whatever. I don't care what it looks like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can get up to like 180. If I don't care, I'll get up to 185, right? But once I get over that phase and I'm like, all right, I gotta get back to the grind. I usually walk around from like 75 to max 80.
So you're still cutting like 25 pounds to fight at 155.
No, yes, cutting weight again. Remember, cutting weight and diet, it's not the same. Cutting weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know guys in my weight class who walk around, 195, 200 pounds. There's some big boys out there.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm not, like you said, I appreciate the compliment. I am a decent sized guy and pretty muscular, but it's all water. Through dieting and all that, you lose the weight progressively, slowly but surely, and then the fight week is all just. It sounds funny and it's like dumb to say. It's all water. Like your body as humans, we can lose up to 20 pounds of water in a day, in a period of time. I wouldn't go suggesting that to anyone to go cut 20 pounds of water. So don't take it. But the human body is able to do it. So cutting, 8, 10, 12 pounds of water in an hour isn't really that hard. It's not fun. Like it's not like I can't wait to go do this on, Friday.
So
night.
weigh in, you're miserable.
Yeah, it's just like you're just so thirsty. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's the weirdest to explain. Like the way I would describe it, someone's like, okay, try to have as little amount of sodium as you can for like 2 days, right? Eat nothing but like boring food, depending on what your weight is, and then
Hey, Mike, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
yeah, I'm good.
Oh, okay, perfect. I lost you for a second. I just
No,
wanted to
I'm
make
good.
sure. Dude,
Yeah,
it happens all the time, man. Technology is
I didn't even know how to do the
wild.
Zoom.
Listen, I've had episodes that like I had one guy, we did it and it was like cutting out a lot, and afterwards like listening to it, I had to like call him like, I don't know if you were in a tough spot or what, but like we might have to cut this. It ended up being one of my favorite podcasts because when you listen to the conversation the second time around, like a lot of it was different, a lot of it was different, and we're like, oh, this was great. But we caught pretty much everything that you said there. I just wanted to make sure I didn't lose you.
Yeah, like I said, my last weight cut was for this last fight was the best I've ever had. I cut weight the night before.
Yeah.
I had to do one round, which I mean, detail with all that stuff. I had to do one round and went to bed, woke up, and then I floated and I came in a pound under. You can come in, so they give you a weight class, right? So say if you had to weigh 155,
yeah,
they give you a plus pound, so you weigh 156. I came in at 154, so I came in a pound under or 2 pounds, whatever way you want to look at it. So I felt fine. Obviously, again, yeah, just thirsty, hungry, want to eat and drink. But I've seen some bad cuts. I've seen some real bad ones that go, and it's pretty ugly to see.
Yeah.
But I've seen them. I only had one bad cut out of all of them, and I'm really on my game with that. I take it really serious, so it's all discipline. You know what I mean? That's it, like anything, I
And
guess.
you're certified in it. You mentioned, is that no, is that typical? Like most fighters certified in that? Like,
Not
so,
that I know of. No, you'd be
okay.
surprised.
So do you count on yourself as, or do you have somebody else who also works with you? Or you kind of, I'm in charge and control of my weight cut?
Yeah, I take responsibility for it. I am certified. I don't know many other fighters who are weight cut and nutrition certified. I know like
Yeah, yeah. I thought it did it like I was like, wow, that's really impressive. But I didn't know because I don't know the fight game as well, like if that was normal. So that's even more impressive. That truly is.
the way I look at it is like it's like one like on a say a business aspect like a company like I have more tools now. I can raise my prices or whatever. But
Mhm.
also everything I do is kind of revolve around the fight game. So like I got that to make my life easier to cut weight for fights. I have you know what I mean? Like strength and conditioning is for me to get better at fighting. It kind of all revolves around the same thing. But no, a lot of fighters still have no idea how to cut weight. They
Yeah.
just do the grilled chicken, spinach for a week and a half, 2 weeks, and they hate their lives and they're miserable and you can do there's a lot more ways to go about doing it. But at the end of the day, you're gonna lose more calories than you put in. At the end of the day, it's that simple.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. It's as I said, I think that's impressive, and it's like it's like taking care of a car. If you take care of a car right, you're going to have it a lot longer. If you're constantly,
Keep
putting damage on it and going back and forth, so having that is it's a huge plus. I mean, I think it's a
Oh
huge
yeah,
plus. So obviously we talked about, your fighting and you being in boxing, and obviously that's one form of fighting, in mixed martial arts. There's many different forms of fighting coaches. It seems like you kind of have a lot of them. You and I have kind of talked on the phone. You have your boxing coach, your wrestling coach, and those were maybe just a few that you kind of had mentioned. I mean, talk about like the different type of people that work with you, or the different types of style of fighting that, you kind of consistently train in the mixed martial arts world.
so I'm kind of lucky. My cousin, who's like he's like a brother, but he's my cousin, and we spend a lot of time together. And luckily, he's my jujitsu coach, Bobby McCarron. His Instagram's Bobby Dub Barber, something like that.
Yeah, Bobby cut my hair before. True story. A
That's
long
true
time ago.
story,
Yeah.
right? He's my jiu-jitsu coach, and so I'm with him all the time, and grappling, whatever, and he oversees a lot of the ground stuff. And we go to Fuji in Woburn, and we wrestle with AJ Pedro, who's Division 1 wrestler. Jimmy Pedro's son, legendary Jimmy Pedro, trained Olympians in judo. So we're getting all that, and then I got Tom Egan, who is my wrestling coach, MMA kind of coach. He kind of blends it all together. But Tom Egan he fought in the UFC a long time ago. He's from Ireland originally. He's friends with is friends with Conor McGregor. So I have him, who's a good mind of the game. He's been doing it a long time, and he's a very smart guy. And then I got my boxing coach, Sean Farley, and I kind of just took like I don't know how to a selfish road, I guess. So I have my coaches, and I stick with my coaches, and I get sparring when I need to with the guys I have, and I go to different gyms for that, which I'm super grateful that I'm allowed to do that, and it's a good nucleus. But I have my cousin for that. I have Tom for that. My boxing coach, who is just a wizard in that art. It's actually pretty cool to even listen to him talk about it. He's just such a specialist, and so I have a great team around me, and I only just feel like the more I grow, it's gonna be it's gonna be real good. It's gonna be a good future. So
Well, it's interesting, because again, our world's football. We cover a lot of different sports. My background's that, but it's like having like a program or having an organization in which like you have a system that you build. You have people within your system that you trust, and they understand what you might expect, what you want, what they think of you as a fighter. They see many different ways of your growth and so on, and understand how to push you and when not to push you or whatever it is. So it's totally understandable to have people around you that trust you. And like we said earlier, you being in control of your weight cutting, and obviously that's a mentality as well. I'm sure that's not just a physical thing, that's a mentality as well. So it seems like you have that core nucleus of both from the physical aspect of the game, but also the mental aspect of the game that you have yourself and other people around you that you really trust a lot.
Yeah, and it also adds up. But like, give an example. Like, there's no, not because I do it, even just take me out of the picture. Mixed martial arts is hands down the hardest sport in the world. And I'm not knocking football or soccer or baseball. I'm not knocking it. It's
Right.
extremely hard sports too. And people, I mean, I understand that you're a football based, but I'm when I say that, it's like you have football practice. You can do 2 a days football practice. In the martial arts, you got guys who have to go to 5 different. They have to go to. They wake up in the morning and they go wrestle. Then they got to go do kickboxing or boxing or jiu-jitsu. Then they got to go back over there. Then they got to get strength and conditioning. Then they got to. So it's like
Yeah, it's a different
it's
world.
it's
Yeah.
a different beast. And I'm saying that as even in the boxing game, boxing, in my opinion, is the loneliest sport in the world. It's a very one-on-one sport. You do a lot of things alone. But as a whole, mixed martial arts, it just can't be matched. It's such a hard sport, and that's why I think it's so capturing, because there's so many ways to win, to lose. There's ups and downs. There's so many. It's so fascinating, but it's so physically demanding. Which, to come back to your question, with all the different coaches, um, that can get tough. Like, okay, I got to be here on Monday morning, and then I got to be here Monday evening, and then I got work, or you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
it all works out. It's all good. It's just part of the ride. It's just like anything else.
No, it's great. I think and I agree with you. I can't imagine how tough it is. It's just even thinking about it makes me tired. So I
Honestly, I
totally
just
get where you're
lost
coming from.
talking that sentence. Never mind freaking doing it.
Talk a little bit about Mike Bulger outside the fighting game a little bit. I mean, who you are as a person, where you're from, some of your maybe favorite, hobbies outside of fighting that explains who you are a little bit more to our audience.
Well, I'm from originally Medford, Massachusetts, but I moved a lot. So I bounced around. I mean, I probably moved 20 something times in my life, 28. I lived in Las Vegas for a little portion of my childhood, like 8 to 12, and I'd go back to visit and all that. But I bounced around a lot. Originally from Medford, finally touched back home there when I was like a teenager, like 14. Lived there pretty much throughout now. So yeah, moved around a lot. But outside of the fight game, um, I like to have fun, right? I
Yeah.
guess like anyone would like to have fun. Um, Number one passion, I love to eat food. I love to eat food. The day you saw me, I just came from eating at sushi. I think it was a Chinese food place. I love sushi. Um, my hobbies, I love basketball. Played basketball, big portion of my life growing up. Um, and yeah, I just like to have fun. I don't like to sit around. I'm not a big sitting around kind of guy. Like, I always tip my hat to these to the sports fans who sit there all day and watch like college football, and then I couldn't do it. I have to do something.
Yeah.
Whether it's go out and watch the game, then move somewhere else. I like to move around. I can't sit still. And I'm sure
Yeah.
people are laughing at that because yeah, I just like to move.
Yeah, it's funny, man. And I know we obviously have a mutual friend in Danny Kelly who's been on the show a few different times. We've covered his football team, and he lives life. I tell him that I'm like, you
He
live
does.
life, man. I live vicariously through his social media sometimes, and I have to say, I seen you guys together before. I think you guys were down in Nashville together, and it seemed like you were having a good time down there. I think it was Nashville. I think it was
Well,
Nashville.
we've traveled to, we've been to Florida. We've been to Nashville. He traveled. I mean, I remember I was fighting in June, not June. I'm sorry. I was fighting in January, and he went somewhere, and he had to like FaceTime my fight or whatever it was. But he travels a lot. Yeah, Danny likes the cruises. Danny likes to cruise.
Yeah, he does like the cruise. Actually, you're right.
Still have fun. That's funny. No, but I like to. Yeah, we go out a lot. Like Nashville is cool. We do live life, and I think that's major key is to do that. I don't think staying in one spot's good. You got to get out there and meet people, or not even meet people, just experience something new.
Yeah.
But we have fun. Yeah. When I'm not fighting, I'm trying to have some fun. I'm not sitting around.
Well, that's great, dude. And I think that's part of the recovery, not only physically, but like you said, mentally, and making sure that you're also enjoying life a little bit, because what you do is not easy. And you said it, the training, the time, the waking up early in the morning, and maybe even like today, dude, you're texting me saying, hey, I just finished training, I got to prep my meal. Like, so, you're getting close to the event and obviously losing that weight and cutting that weight, and the big guzzle thing of giant water you were drinking.
Yeah,
So,
right. I switch it up, man. I switch it up. I want to get sponsored by these people, so let's get that going. I drink too much of their water not to be sponsored by them.
we will definitely, I will cut a
Yeah,
little
I got a
trail
full
there and we'll
sponsorship
tag
that
them.
I'm gonna be hunting down soon.
But it ain't easy, man. It ain't easy at all. So when you talk about the difficulty of it, I get it. And that's a big reason why I wanted to have you on here, because I think the fight game for me, I wasn't into mixed martial arts really until kind of the pandemic. And, I think Dana White's a genius, truthfully. Like when people
Oh,
talk about him, I think he's just
yeah,
so smart. And, he said it during the pandemic very early on. We're going to be the first sport to come back. We're going to be the first sport to come back. Like, and he was right. And he was smart because everybody was looking for something to watch, and outside maybe the Michael Jordan documentary, there was nothing else
what
sports
else?
on there that was
Yeah, people
interesting.
watching. I mean, again, people could say whatever they want to say about him. Um, I mean, I don't know the guy, but I mean, the guy clearly has got it figured out, has something figured out.
Yeah.
I remember the exact quote because I was actually helping. I was supposed to get ready for a fight, April 3rd, I want to say. I remember they had a birthday and all that. Then the next day, training, then it shut down. And I was in camp, and then I remember the fighter, also from New England, Calvin Cater, who's obviously the top 5 in the world right now. But I was in camp with him for his Jeremy Stevens fight. I was in camp with
Wow.
him, and I remember like thinking to myself, like, there's no way this fight's going on, right? Like I'm just like everyone was. It wasn't about being a hater. It's the way it is.
Yeah.
And Dana White came out and was like, I will be the first sporting event back, and he
Yeah.
he did. So I mean, the guy's a genius. He's a marketing genius. He's a business genius. I mean, I don't know how you can hate on that.
And I think what UFC has is the ultimate ace in the hole is a guy like Joe Rogan, who knows the sport so well, and people just listen to his
He's the backbone of
podcasts.
the UFC,
Yeah, I mean,
in my
he
opinion.
makes it. He really kind of got me into it, truthfully. With things that he would, guests that he have on and talking about it, and just every person he talks about and how he just talks about him so differently, and the knowledge he has, it's just like
On
holy
everybody.
moly. Yeah, it's like
I
it's
love watching his
unreal.
stuff too. I'm a big I mean, I watch his stuff all the time, but like I'm big into like the Elon Musk and all those guys, so I'll nerd out to them. That's another thing I do when I'm out training. I watch a lot of crazy stuff on YouTube and shit like that.
You can get lost on YouTube,
Dude, I'll be on YouTube.
lost.
I'll sit here like on a day off. I'm like, oh, let me just check out this like quick interview or something. And then I look at my phone. It's like it's Thursday the next week, and I'm yeah, YouTube is vicious. You got to be careful with YouTube.
I know. I listen, I totally get it. And and the other thing was, and really I brought this up at the top, was your social media. As a fighter, and obviously you as you're, kind of gaining momentum and gaining steam in this game, how important is social media to you as a fighter and obviously getting your stuff out there? Or is it something that's just starting to get bigger for you? Or is it something that you've always kind of felt like, hey, I got to show the product off here?
To be honest with you, I like hate it. I don't like
Yeah.
social media. It's hard. I have a like I understand the aspect of it and like it is a tool. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I'm like everybody else. I'm not like gonna be like I don't go on my phone. It's not true. My phone's right next to me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm on my phone. I take a picture of my food. Like I am normal, but
Yeah.
I wish that wasn't the case. I wish that wasn't the norm. You know what I mean? I kind of like have a little bit of that old school thing, but I understand as a business because I am a business, like I'm myself, right? I need to be on social media. I should be on it more. I know guys who post every
Yeah.
day, but they're told that, right? Like sponsorships, like they want you to post 3, 4 times a week to get it out there, and that's something I need to get better with. Mind you, it is fun, like throwing up a crazy video. Like again, I am human, but I
Yeah.
don't I don't do it enough, and I don't think about it enough. Like I don't do a cool video and then say to myself, "Oh, I gotta put that on Instagram." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
It's
like
so interesting. That's so interesting because I feel like when I look at your social media and some of the stuff that you post, it's very interesting. Like I get it from my standpoint. When I started this podcast, I didn't have personal social media. Like I didn't have Instagram, I didn't have Facebook. I had Twitter, I think, as a coach, like for the
Yeah.
program I coached, but that was about it. And even starting this podcast for the first 4 months, we were YouTube and Twitter because the coaching world, Twitter's huge.
Yep.
It's the biggest social media for them. And it wasn't until like December, January of 2020 into 2021 that people were like, you're crazy for not having an Instagram. Like, if you really want to grow this. And now I've learned it and I'm just like, wow, like I don't like stuff that, like, sometimes people like, you didn't notice my post. I'm like, no, not really. Like I look at my analytics, I post stuff on my story, and I might look at some reels for cool music or a little, sayings or whatever. But it is a huge marketing tool, and it's helped our business so much. And it's funny because that's how I like really first started seeing your stuff. You did a couple training videos. I'm like, oh, this kid's for real, like. So it's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's again, right, it's a catch-22 because I was raised that, like, you want to keep your hand close to your, you know what I mean? If you're
Yeah.
playing cards, I'm not going to show you, but in the world we're living in now, it's almost the other way around. Like, you want to show your hand. It's very bizarre, and I'm going to figure it out. I'm still a puppy doing this pro fighting game. I'll get there, but like for me, I like to have fun with it. Like, I'm not going to, like, I put videos of me doing a backflip.
Yeah. Can you hear me again, Mike? I think I might have lost you for a second with your volume. It's all right. There you are. There you are. There you are. There you are. All right.
Yeah, like to me, social media, like like another genius in the game of social media is Conor McGregor. That guy is a genius, and he just posts the most bonkers things all the time.
Yeah.
And to me, that's why I like social media, right? Like, put a little training video and then do a backflip off a cliff into the ocean, like. But it is a major tool, and like I know I got to get better with it, with being more consistent, right? Like, because my stories, I usually post my stories like training or running or crazy wacky videos that I find somewhere. But I need to post more to get it out there. You know what I mean? I understand that's how the game works, but
we'll help you do that. Listen, anything you want us to post, if someone gets a video or a thing, like, we'll do it for you, man, because we're more than willing to help you out with that. We think that, to me, it's really how I grew. Like, I was the same way. Like, I didn't want people to know anything about me, like, or I didn't know anything about people. And then when I see people like, oh, did you see what they posted on Facebook? I'm like, no, why? What happened? And sometimes you're like, oh my God, I didn't know that, and then sometimes you're like, who cares?
it's a catch-22. It's whatever
Yeah.
way you look at it.
But we will definitely pump your stuff. And you mentioned McGregor. To you, obviously, MMA game, you've known it for a long time. You've seen a lot of fighters. You named a lot of fighters at the top, even guys that you've worked with. Who right now is like maybe someone and I'll ask this in two ways, and maybe there's two different answers here. Someone you kind of emulate yourself around, maybe your fighting style and so on, or just someone who, like a McGregor, who markets himself really well, a fighter that you just like enjoy thoroughly in MMA right now or UFC right now?
Right now, I don't know if I mimic anyone because it's just, again, there's so many different styles. It's hard to do that mimic. Like, I don't have that karate stance.
Yeah.
Who's the guy right now? That's a good question.
There's so many. I mean, there's so many guys who market themselves well.
Man. That's a tough question. Who's my favorite to watch right now? Well, to watch. All right. So you ever hear of Khamzat Chimaev?
Yeah, of course.
That guy, to me, that's who I like to watch. Khamzat Chimaev. His whole attitude about the game.
I kill everybody, right? Doesn't he like say that?
vicious guy. And I don't think he's acting, which is why I really like it. I think it's pretty genuine.
Yeah.
I get kind of, I nerd out with these things. So I'll research before he became, Khamzat Chimaev. His first fight in the UFC was on a 12-day notice.
Yeah.
He said to Dana White, he said, I'll fight next week. Keep me here. Keep me in Abu Dhabi. They kept him in Abu Dhabi, and he fought, won again. He said, I'll fight 2 times in one night. And then the ball blew up, and he became, whatever. But yeah, I mean, obviously his style, he's a wrestler. He was an unbelievable wrestler, and you know, I come from a striking background, but he's just he's phenomenal to me.
Yeah,
He's
and I feel like even he what he just fight Kevin Holland, right? And he like absolutely, I mean, and Kevin Holland's
man,
no
that was
joke. Like and he destroyed him. I mean, and destroyed might be an understatement. I
that might be.
mean,
Listen, people want to say whatever they want to say, like you know, because Kevin Holland's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and now you'll hear people, and I understand what they're saying because I try to look at things from both sides, like as a fan, as an athlete, everything, right? Kevin Holland is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, whether he's a real black belt or not. Okay, I say he is, right?
yeah.
I forget who he got his black belt on. Either way, even if he was a brown belt, even if he was a purple belt, he just got tossed around, and then and tapped out. It was unbelievable, and the way he did it was just
Yeah. And I felt like he was the villain.
jump down my throat. He will be the greatest, fastest rising champion ever, something along those lines, because no one's done this besides Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
Besides Anderson Silva, but
Yeah, who's got a boxing match coming up himself.
Anderson Silva is the reason why I kind of got into MMA.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, most people, but I don't. A lot of the new guys, I don't really simulate. I like to watch for entertainment. Like I like watching Justin Gaethje.
I
Guys are
mean, he just comes out swinging. It's
just so
crazy.
nuts. You know, Volkanovski,
Yeah.
um, all those guys. I mean, those guys are unbelievable. Volkanovski's unbelievable. But I like the old guys. You know, I like the George St. Pierre's, the Fedor,
Yeah.
Emelianenko's, Anderson Silva, Roy McDonald's. It goes on and on and on.
I mean, those are the guys that got you into it. I mean, those are the
Those are the
names.
guys. Yeah, when I saw Fedor and how he operated, I was like, "What is going on?" I said, "That guy's different. We do not have."
Well, I mean, it is amazing. And you know, I joked that I really got into it after 2020. I know all those names like McGregor. I mean, I watch McGregor videos still of
Oh, he's unbelievable.
just talking trash. Like
Listen, I don't care who you are, where you're from. You're gonna watch that guy. He's must see TV.
he
Period.
is. He is.
Period.
And the best part about him is he talks so much trash and then he backs it up. I mean, there were times that he was predicting when he was going to knock dudes out, and then he knocked them out when he said he was going to knock them out. I mean, I mean, to me, he might be the greatest like superstar. Like, I think The Rock is the greatest superstar wrestler. McGregor's the greatest MMA superstar there ever is.
When he was, so again, I told you I nerd out. And I love Connor as well.
You there? Gotcha.
All right. He just talks so much self-belief, and I'm real big into like meditation and visualization and manifestation. Like, I mean, I'm really into it. And when I heard him saying it, I was like, oh, all right, I'm not the only guy in the world, right? So that to me stuck out, that he was normal. He really believed in himself. And then obviously you add on
everything.
add on his knockout power, and you add on him being him, then it just exploded. I mean, he exploded. He might be the greatest fast rising champion ever, but if Kamzat keeps doing what he's doing, he might beat him. But yeah, Connor's a freak.
Yeah.
Again, anywhere in the world, you put that guy on TV, you're gonna watch him fight. It just is what it is. You're gonna watch him.
I mean, he jokes that he's the money fight. He is the money fight, and anyone wants it because it's cashing in. You know, it's cashing in.
You had a chance to fight him. Why?
Yeah, I let him knock me out if it meant me getting a nice.
You just do it.
That's true. I mean, I shouldn't say it like that.
No,
but if someone said you'd make $2 million and Conor McGregor is gonna beat the crap out of you for 30 seconds, I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Like, make it 35.
So we're going to jump into our last segment of the podcast here, man. And it's been a pleasure literally having you on. I meant all the stuff that I said at the top, and we're going to be at your fight on the 21st. We're going to be front row or close to it, first, second, third row. We're going to be there wearing all our stuff. And when you win, just find us, because we're going to be screaming at the top of our lungs for you and going crazy, man.
We're going to get this guy out of here, and then I'm going to find you in the crowd somewhere, and we'll flex it off. I got you.
I love it. I love it, man. So, big fight for you, your second big one. I know this is an UFC kind of event in a sense too. It's going to be on Fight Pass, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. So this is cool. This is, it's all going to be there, man.
Next step, yep.
So we're proud of you, and we're rooting for you, and we will most certainly be there, and I'll be there in the weigh-in. So we're going to jump into our 2-minute drill, our Cheney's 2-minute drill, which is our, rapid fire questions with our guests we have a good time with. Cheney's is one of our sponsors. Joe there has been a good friend to us, 252 French Street in Boston, Mass, right around the corner from the Garden. They're known for their mini arancini wraps, or their arancini balls, excuse me. Traditional beef ragu with peas, sauteed spinach, buffalo chicken, my favorite, the maccachini, and even the spice of maccachini, which is pretty good too, made of bacon, hot cherry peppers, and breaded with those flaming hot Cheetos. Their pizza's phenomenal. I love their calzones, pillow soft, man. The dough's great. And they're actually being sold now at Encore's Casino at Frank and Nick's, right next to the sporting book. So go bet on Mike to win, and then go get yourself some Cheney's. But when you go there, ask for Joe or Rizzuti. Those guys are straight gas, man. We appreciate it. So Mike, we're gonna fire these questions at you now. Rapid fire, 1 or 2 word answers, man. If you gotta explain it. We're pretty lenient here, but here we go. I'm gonna set the timer, and first question's up. Song you're gonna come out to for October 21st.
Run This Town.
I love it. That's huge on Reels, man. Huge on Instagram Reels. I love it. First meal you're gonna crush after the fight's over.
Oh shit. Pizza.
Okay. Dream match for you. If you were to fight anybody, and maybe we already kind of talked about this person, if you had a chance to match up with one person and fight him, who would it be? Who would be the dream?
GSP or Conor McGregor.
Okay.
Or Canelo Alvarez.
Okay. All right. I like that you threw both of them in there. That's good. Those are really good answers. Of all the victories you've had so far, both professionally and amateur, which one's been the most memorable for you?
My pro debut.
Okay. One word to describe your fighting style.
Fast.
Okay. And my last question to you, strongest part of your fight game?
IQ.
Okay. All right, man, you survived the Cheney's 2-minute drill. Again, I appreciate you coming on so much. It means a lot. And like I said, we're going to be rooting for you the 21st. We're going to be posting all over our social media, get people to get down there. I live in Wilmington. I'm like 5 minutes from the Shriners, so I could walk there. I might walk there with the Bulger sign all the way down Concord Street.
Man. That post-fight celebration might get you going.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. Well, listen, I really appreciate it, and we'll be in touch soon. We're going to be, like I said, at your weigh-in, and we're going to be rooting for you. Like I said, pumping you pretty hard. So thanks for the time.
My man, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. So from Beyond Podcast, I'm your host, Anthony Petrellis, Mike Bulger. Till next time.